Inktober, day number 4. So far, so good. Inktober is where artists would draw one image a day for all of October, and by the time they're done, they have 31 images, and that's what I'm doing. So day number 4, I'll have 4 images. Before I talk about Inktober, let me tell you a little bit about me. My name is Walden Wong, and I'm a comic book artist. I've done work for Marvel Comics, DC Comics, Image, Dark Horse, and many others. You can check out my website. My website is waldenwongart.com, and also check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/waldenwongart. All those links are below. And when you're watching this video and you see any art supplies that I'm using and you're thinking about getting those art supplies, you can order them on Amazon. Also, links below. I have an Amazon store, so anything you order there, I get a little bit of commission. So thank you very much for that. So back to Inktober. Inktober is where artists would pick one image a day and they'll draw for all 31 days for the month of October. So let me show you all the images I've done so far. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So here's the first one. Oh, no, that's not the first one. This is the first Inktober. You can watch my previous videos if you haven't seen that already. There's the first one, which was Thanos. The second Inktober was Superman. Here's a Superman that I worked on. The third one was a Sentinel. And the fourth one was based on one of my viewers who commented, "Can you draw Doctor Doom?" So when I was finished with these 3 Inktobers, I didn't know what else to draw. And one of the viewers, thank you to you, commented, "Can you draw Doctor Doom?" And I said, "That's a good idea." So here it is. This is the Doctor Doom I've drawn. So I'm going to show you the process of me working on this Doctor Doom video, but I got this nice package. This was the package by, this is actually a nice surprise by a client named Richard. He contacted me and asked if I had any original art for sale. He bought a Moon Knight original art for me. And then when I sent him the original art, I also gave him some free prints, and he was kind enough to send me these. So I'm going to open up and show to you what this is. So this is very cool. Right over here, a nice little package. But before I start showing it to you, we're gonna talk about how I start working on this Doctor Doom piece. So the first thing I do is I'll go and I'll sketch the figure first. So I grab my sketchbook and I'll start sketching up the figure by doing bubble figures, and I'm sketching a lot of lines, getting the form ready, making sure the form looks good to me. I'll adjust some of the arms a little bit. If I don't like the arm or if I don't like the fingers, I'll go in there and redraw it. So a lot of times I'm drawing something and then it doesn't look good once I have the pencil on paper, then I'll go back and I'll redraw certain areas just so it feels right to me. So a lot of times when I'm drawing and sketching things out, I'm just going by feeling just to make sure it feels okay. The art, and then if it's okay, then I'll start adding in the details later. So here I'm just sketching the figure by itself. It could be a figure of anyone. So after sketching the figure, I'll go and I'll start drawing Doctor Doom's outfit on top of the figure. So right there, I would just start drawing his cape, his face, the fingers, the decoration, everything that has Doctor Doom's belt buckle, and I'll start drawing that. Let's take a look at what these are. This is Mecha Godzilla. These are all little mini Godzilla pieces. They're all polybagged, and these little hands are kind of cool. I think you connected. I think when he was telling me he bought a case of these blind box Godzilla creatures, and then he got a whole bunch of sets. And then here's another one. Here's this character. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so the next step, I would just ink in all the details. So let's watch me do that. So after the figure is done, I'm going to go in there and I'll start drawing the face more in detail. So here you see me just drawing a regular face. I don't even draw Dr. Doom's mask on top yet. I'm just drawing the face first, making sure the face and the proportion and everything in there is correct. And then after I have the nose, eyes, and mouth is done, I'll then draw the mask on top. So basically, I'm just drawing all the figures first, drawing all the details of the face, and then drawing the mask on top. And then now I'm just adding all the details of Dr. Doom in there. Some of the gloves, the fingers, those discs on his chest, the details of Dr. Doom. And I'm just drawing it around the original figure pose that I sketched out originally. And then I'm just moving those discs around that I see in my head, and I'm just putting it on into paper. And then after sketching in all the figures, I'll go back in there and I'll start doing all the shadows. Well, look at this one. This one is pretty cool. This is very nice. They all come with separate limbs. I think that's his arms. I'm going to open these up later. Oh, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Look at this one. This is another Godzilla. This is so cool. I don't have that many Godzilla toys. The only Godzilla toy I have is this one Mecha Godzilla. Look how large he is. I got it because I like the details on this one. Well, anyway, back to drawing. So the next step, I'll do all the shadow rendering in pencil. I'll scribble everything in just so when I'm ready to ink, I'll have all of that set. So let's see how I approach doing all the shadow rendering. I'll think about a light source and I'll go from there. And here I'm just taking my pencil and I'm just scribbling in areas that I would usually have a shadow. It's just scribbling. I'm just really loosely drawing in where I want it to be. So now that the penciling is done, I go and I'll start using a micron. I'll ink faces, I'll ink hands, I'll ink logos, some of the disc around Dr. Doom, and also some of his belt buckle and his guns, just using microns and to fill all that out. And then here, after everything's done, I rip the piece of paper out of the whole sketchbook. And then I'll start inking everything in with detail. I'll usually start with the face first with a tiny size micron, making sure the face is inked in nicely. A lot of times when I'm doing the work, I always ink the faces first, because if I make a mistake, I can just go back and redraw everything. It's nothing worse than drawing the figure first and then you end up drawing the face last and it looks wonky and weird. You're going to have a lot of white out there, or it's better for me I'm used to just inking the face first, drawing the face first, and if it looks weird, I just scrap the whole page and then redraw everything from scratch again. That's how I prefer to draw artwork. Face first, and then fingers, and then the rest of the details later. Oh, here's Ghidorah, the three-headed guy, monster. Okay. And then we have, and then after that, I'll start using a brush. So the next step, after using I'm so distracted by these toys, I'm going to open them up. So the next step I'm going to start is using a brush. So I use a brush after I do all the micron work. And here's my next step. I'll grab a brush and I'll dip it into a bottle of ink and I'll start inking the holding line. Holding line is the outline of the character. Usually I'll focus on the line weights, lines that are thicker, that goes to thin, that goes to thicker. And I'll usually just ink the outlines of the whole character first. When I'm done inking the character, then I'll go back in there to do some interior lines. But because this was an Inktober project, I was more focused on getting the work done. So I was going all over the place. But when I work on regular comic books, or Marvel Comics or DC, usually I'll do all the holding lines first and I'll go back in there and I'll do all the details. So after the holding line, I'm going in there and I'm adding the shadows. With the shadows, I'm just filling in with blacks first. I don't worry about any of the gray areas. I'm just doing all the solid blacks first. And then areas that, like for example, under the arm, I'll go in there and I'll taper those lines to give it some of a gray tone. So as I'm going, I'm just going as quick as I can with Inktober. This piece took around, in real time, maybe 2 hours to do, and I'm just slowly processing it. So I use all the brush and I'll do all the thicker holding lines, the outline of the characters, and every so often I'll see some pencil areas that I'm not too happy about, and I'll go back in there and I'll redraw some of the areas, and then I'll go about and concentrate on line weights, the thick line weights and then the thin line weights. Look, this is so cool. This is so cool. Look how detailed they are. They're so small. So let's watch how I do that. So at this stage, I'm just going in there and I'm filling in black areas. I'm also adding like a hatch line, a taper line. Hatch line is when I can give it a little bit of a gray tone. In addition to adding the gray tones, I'm also giving some black lines around Dr. Doom's armor. Some wiggly, squiggly lines just to give it that texture that it's metal. So I'm going in there and I'm tapering lines on the knees and the arms, underneath the legs, the feet, just to give it that metal texture. A lot of times when I'm making metal, there's a lot of wobbly, bloopy lines that's going on. And I'm going in there and filling in Dr. Doom's belt, giving it a little black value over there, and I'm adding some hatch lines and cross hatch lines, and I'll keep tapering. And you notice that when I'm inking, I'm usually using my left hand. I'm constantly spinning. My right hand is just doing the inking. My left hand is spinning the paper. So my right hand, where the drawing area, always stays around that area, which is normal for me to do. A lot of artists, they also constantly spin the pages as well. So this is how I do it. So there you have that. And then my next step, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna start filling in all the black areas. Filling all the black areas, start tapering lines. Mothra, this is Mothra. Filling in all the lines and putting in all the details of the inking, and then try to get as close as finishing the project of Dr. Doom. And then once that's done, I'll go ahead and wrap it off with little minute details. Now that I have the majority of the black areas done around the cape and legs and arm, I go grab a micron and I'm adding those little sections on Dr. Doom's fingers. It's the same way when I'm working on Spider-Man, those little sections, or when I'm working on Iron Man for Marvel Comics, I'll add those sections and then I'll add a little shadow in between each little section of the metal. And then after all that's done, I'll wait for the ink to dry and I'll use a white gel pen and I'll add a white line in between some of the black areas that I inked in, just so we can see the metal parts shine through. And then when all of that is done, I'll go in there and I'll start erasing everything. I'll erase everything. Usually I'll hold a piece of paper like this and I'll erase in between my fingers. That way I don't have to wrinkle the paper. I'll erase everything and then I'll sign my name and then I'll call it done. And that's how I worked on Dr. Doom. So let's watch me finish off this piece. And after finishing off this piece, I'm going to show you all of these cool Godzilla toys. Here we go. After everything's done, I'll get a knead eraser and I'll erase everything, clean everything out. Sometimes the knead eraser doesn't erase everything completely, and I'll go grab a vinyl eraser. So the vinyl eraser is this block eraser. That usually erases much better. And when everything's done, I just sign my name and call it a day. And there you have it. That's me inking Dr. Doom for Inktober day number 4. You can check this out on my website. I posted it on my website so you can have a clearer look. Actually, all 4 of these, you can check it out on my website. My website is waldenwongart.com, so check out my website. Links below. Also, check out my Patreon, patreon.com/waldenwongart. Also, links below. Any of the tools you're interested in using, brushes, pins, microns that I use in the videos, you can check out my Amazon store. Links also below. And there you have it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please subscribe, hit like, share. If you haven't done so already, hit that notification bell so anytime I upload a video, you'll be one of the first to see it. So for the month of October, I plan to do 1 video a day. So look for me tomorrow. So I hope to have another video for you tomorrow. So now I'm going to start unboxing all these and putting them together.